Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome back. I hope you're having a great Christmas vacation. Peter and I really enjoyed celebrating Christmas morning with you. I hope you're able to watch and enjoy that episode and see our little surprise. And if you didn't watch it, you better go back and see what happened on Christmas morning. Well, we've been talking about the birth of Jesus and the people who came to see Jesus. So we have to fast forward a little bit in Jesus' life, a little bit longer than a week. Even though he was just born last week, we have to fast forward till he's about 2 years old, roughly, maybe a little bit younger, but it has been a little bit of time. We're picking up in Matthew chapter 2, if you want to look there, boys and girls. It says in verse number 1, "Now when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem." So these wise men wanted to see who Jesus was. They had been watching a star from the east. There had been a bright star shining, and the wise men had seen it, and they knew that that star was going to lead them to the baby Jesus. So they had followed that star. Well, they came to the king. They said, "King Herod, we've heard that a king has been born. Do you know where this king is?" I'm a king? I'm the king. Herod starts to get worried. He starts to get troubled. He's like, "Wait, a king? I didn't have any babies. There aren't any new princes born. What do you mean a king has been born?" And he's nervous and he's troubled. So he calls all his wise men. He says, "Wise men, come here. Wise men, what all of these chief priests and rulers," he says, "we need to have a meeting. We need to have a powwow. What is going on? What is this baby, this king that's being talked about?" Well, when the wise men come together and they tell Herod that in the prophecy, which would be the Old Testament, he says it was prophesied that this baby would be born in, and he gives the city of Bethlehem. So he finds out that this baby's going to be born in Bethlehem. Now, boys and girls, we already talked about the baby being born. We know he was born in Bethlehem. Well, Herod calls those wise men back who'd been traveling, sometimes called the Magi. He calls them back and he says, "I want you to go and find this baby. And when you find this baby in Bethlehem, you come back and you tell me where this baby is." Well, the wise men go back out and they find the star again and they follow the star. The star leads them right to where baby Jesus is. And when the wise men get there and they see the baby, they knock on the door, they come in, they see Mary, they see the baby, and they're so excited that they found baby Jesus. They fall down and they worship him. Well, boys and girls, the Bible goes on to tell us that they bring 3 gifts. Peter's going to help me open this first one, and let's see what the first wise man... Oh, I'm glad it's not fragile, Peter. What the first wise man brought to Jesus. Okay, now I didn't have any real gold to bring, boys and girls, but I brought a piece of paper that's shiny gold, and it represents gold. The first gift that was brought that the Bible tells us about is gold. And the gold reveals Jesus as the king. Jesus had come to be the king. Now, we know, boys and girls, because we have the whole Bible with us, we know that he didn't sit on a throne and rule here on earth. He didn't take King Herod's spot, even though Herod was very afraid of that. But he did come to be our king, boys and girls. He came to rule, and someday he will rule here on earth as the king. So gold represents him as a king. Now, I asked 2 friends to come along and help me out this morning. Can my 2 friends come on up? They're going to help us open these other 2 gifts. All right, first, we have my friend Anna. Anna's going to open the next gift for us. Can you wave at Peter, Anna? Peter's waving at you. Maybe give Peter a high five. Yeah, all right. So, gift number 2 is, let's see what does Anna pull out of the bag? What is going to be gift number 2? You want to read that giant word, or do you want me to say it? You want me to say it? All right. That is a pretty big word. Frankincense. So frankincense was the second gift that was brought to Jesus. They brought him frankincense. Now, what is frankincense? Basically, you can kind of see the picture here. It's made into oil. Comes from a tree or a plant from an African tree. It's made into oil and then it's burned as incense. This was to represent worship. Jesus was to be worshiped. And we know that, boys and girls. We come to church on Sundays to give Jesus worship. Jesus was to be worshiped. All right, come on up, Violet. Violet's wearing my Christmas present from Peter there. All right, so Violet's going to open the third present. What's in the third present? What did the third wise man bring? All right, the third wise man brought myrrh. All right, you can take your bag and go on off. Thank you, Violet, for your help today, and thank you, Anna. So the wise men brought myrrh. Now, again, this is a baby, and there's kind of some jokes that go around. Like if it were wise women, they would have brought diapers and formula and those things, all those, funny little comics that go around. But each of these wise men brought something that had to do with Jesus and who Jesus was and why Jesus came. So the myrrh, again, it can be turned into an oil that can be burned. This one was to represent Jesus's burial. This was something that they put on Jesus. Basically, they put on dead bodies because dead things stink. I don't know if you've ever smelled like dead roadkill on the side of the road, but dead bodies stink. So they had myrrh that was used for signifying his burial, his death. Jesus was coming to die on the cross for us. Well, we have the three gifts that the wise men brought. We have the myrrh, we have the frankincense, and we have the gold. The three gifts that were brought to baby Jesus, signifying that Jesus was going to be our king, that he's the high priest, and that he was going to die for our sins, boys and girls. Jesus should be worshipped. Now, the wise men, after they gave the three gifts to baby Jesus, they were told in a dream that they should not return to Herod. But boys and girls, what gift do you have to give Jesus? We probably don't have gold, although we can bring money and give an offering in church. We're not burying Jesus, so we're not bringing him any oils or things. But what can we give Jesus? We can give him our lives, right, Peter? We can give him ourselves. We can serve Jesus with all that we do. I hope this week, boys and girls, that you will serve Jesus. And what do we mean by serve Jesus? Obey what he said in his word. What has he told you to do in his word? To obey and to do what's right. Will you do that, boys and girls? Will you come to church and worship Jesus for who he is?